video, we are covering the data analytics part of our project, Hospital Patient Flow and Bed Occupancy Analysis. Now, why did I separate this video from the engineering one? Because the dashboard we are building here is not a typical batch processing dashboard where you load the raw data and create measures directly in Power BI. But here, we are dealing with real-time data that changes constantly, so the approach is very different. Instead of pushing all the logic into Power BI, we create views in SQL Warehouse. That way, all the heavy lifting is done at database level, and Power BI just handles the visualizations and lightweight calculations. This avoids performance issues and errors that often occurs while dealing with direct query. On top of that, our data follows star schema, which includes fact and dimension tables. Well, that makes the model more efficient and more scalable, but it adds on more steps while creating the dashboard. And that's why this data analytics part deserves its own walkthrough. And by the way, if you haven't watched our earlier video, I recommend you to watch that first because it sets the foundation for this one. And also, you'll get access for everything, including the queries and the Power BI files from the GitHub link in the description. Let's begin. Alright, if you followed all the steps in our last video, you would end up with these three tables stored in the data lake as goal tier, referenced to our SQL warehouse in Synapse. Like I said, the process we are going to use here to create a dashboard is quite different than the process we use for a typical batch processing dashboard creation like we see in most of the projects. Because here we're not going to use import to connect Power BI to the source, because import mode creates a separate entity that doesn't have any relation with the source. But we are going to use direct query method here, which still presses the relation with the source, which is our SQL warehouse in this case. And any calculation we do in Power BI goes back to the source for the calculations. And that is perfect for our project because in our project the data changes over time because new data gets added to that, and the dashboard should keep up with that new data, so it has to refresh as well. So we have to use direct query method to connect Power BI to our SQL warehouse. What happens if we do complex calculations in Power BI means if you do any complex calculations, any calculations you do in Power BI off the screen converts those calculations into SQL queries to run them in SQL warehouse. So if you do any complex calculations, Power BI fails to convert them into proper SQL queries, and it pops an error or it might crash the dashboard. So in our case, we can just do all the heavy lifting in Power BI. Instead, we have to do that heavy lifting in the SQL warehouse itself by creating views and pull the views out from SQL warehouse into Power BI to create charts. That's what we are going to do here. And with that being said, we have here we have the patient dimension table, which is the demographic of patient, and we have the department dimension table, which has the department information, and we have a fact table that connects both the dimension tables and stores the transactional data. Well, let me open notebook first, notepad. Let me see. So our goal is to create a dashboard which monitors the patient flow and bed occupancy. With the data we have here, what would be the typical, let me say, get that to a side and open it another side. Beds occupied total, and I've chosen total bed turnover. and total patients to monitor how many patients are actually in the hospital. And then we have average treatment duration. Treatment duration. And for the charts, gone with total patient count over time. To see the patient trends in a line chart over time, and then total patients over department. And then I've also chosen total overstay patient count. Total overstay patients count. And the last chart, I took the average treatment duration again. Now, like I said, we're not creating any measures or tables in the Power BI. We have to create these as views in our warehouse, and then we have to pull them into Power BI. So for that, we have to create the SQL queries first. But here's the thing. Unfortunately, I lost access to my Azure portal because my subscription was ended. But before the subscription ended, I recorded myself running these queries in the SQL warehouse and pulling them into Power BI. So I'm going to play that video after I write the queries. And then after that, we push these queries into the GitHub. Let's say for the first one, create view pw underscore head occupancy as select p dot gender. So we're selecting gender from dimension patient, p dot gender, comma, use count of face it, count of, open a case, then f dot is currently admitted equals 1. Then f dot, oh, this should be small, f dot bed ID and end the case asterisk, which is multiplied by 1.0 and then divided by count of f dot bed ID asterisk 100 as bed occupancy percent. Let's make it space. Here we're selecting gender from patient, and we opened a case and calculated. We only counted the bed IDs that are occupied. So we use this is currently admitted equals to 1. Well, is currently admitted column is a Boolean type if you remember. So while we write that in the query, we can't use true in SQL. We have to use 1 instead. So 1 is nothing but true. So if it checks if it is true, and then it counts the bed ID and multiplied by 1.0. We multiply that with 1.0 because if you expect the output to be a decimal value, you have to multiply that number with 1.0. So in SQL, the divisions goes in this way. If you divide 5 by 2, it outputs as 2 and not 2.5. So you have to include 5 times 0.1 and then no sorry 1.0 and then divide that by 2, and that will gives you 2.5 as output. So whenever you expect decimal value or a float value to be the output of that calculation, you have to multiply one of those factors with 1.0. That is what we did here. So we multiplied the whole thing with 1.0 here, and we assigned it, we called it as alias bed occupancy percent. If I use gender here because I want to add a filter for all the views and I want to filter that with gender, so I selected gender. If you want to filter all the views with department, you add department for all the views, or for the specific views that you want to use that as a filter. So here in our case, we're going to use gender in our dashboard as a filter. So I only selected the gender here and this calculation. And now from the table name dbo dot fact, no, let me fix that, dot fact underscore patient flow as f. We referred it as f, which we used here, and then join patient sk equals p dot surrogate key. The next line, group gender. We got the first view to create this KPI, and let's head to the next one. Well, in this we selected gender and count, this calculation, the whole calculation, to get the bed IDs of the one in which the patients are currently admitted, and we assign that value, which is the percentage of beds occupied, to bed occupancy percentage alias. And here's the table which we took that from. from dbo.fact patient flow, we join that table with join clause with dbo dimension patient. Now wait, join is not a clause, join is a command. Okay, we use join command to join dbo.dimension patient, which is aliased as p on patient sk equals surrogate key, which patient sk is nothing but a connector of surrogate key. It acts like a foreign key in fact patient flow fact table, and we group that by gender. That's what we did there. And for the next view we have total bit turnover, create view, select, and p.gender, which I'm going to use as a filter for every view, and then count of distinct, f.fact id. Like I said, you have to multiply with 1.0 divided by count of distinct f dot bed id as bed turnover rate. So we aliased that with bed turnover rate, and we selected gender, which is our filter in the charts. Then from table dbo dot fact patient flow, f join the table dbo dot dim patient as p on f dot patient sk equals p dot surrogate key. Let me just copy that. Why make it hard? Because we have the variable names, the column names right there, so we can just copy paste them and group by gender again, p dot gender. This is our second view. Here, yeah, of course we selected gender for the filtration, and we did the count of distinct selects only distinct, removes the duplicate values, so we select distinct of f dot fact id, which tracks the transactional data in our fact table here, and we multiplied that with 1.0 to make it to make the output to capture the decimal value as well. And then we did count of distinct, which eliminates the duplicate values, f dot bed id, to calculate the bed turnover rate, how often patients are changing per bed. It is that's what basically the meaning of bed turnover rate. And this is the table. We join the fact table with patient table on patient sk, which is the patient surrogate key, and the surrogate key, the actual surrogate key in patient, and we group that by gender. So for the next KPI, we create create view VW patient demographic, patient demographics as select of course we need the gender for the filter, comma, then count of distinct f dot fact id as total patients from just copy the table name f join dbo dot patient as p on same mean. Here we need to add a where clause, where, and we need to filter that with is currently admitted equals 1. No. We don't need to use where clause. Cut that. We can include that here, just like we did before. We can open a case, this out. Case, let's say when f dot, the same thing. We can use this same thing here. But here we have to replace this with f dot fact id as total patients. After join, we group by p dot gender. So here what I actually did is, of course we selected gender for the filter, and we use count, and we open the case when f dot is currently admitted equals 1, which means only if the patient is currently admitted, count that fact id and alias it with total patients. This is basically to check the total patients are actually in the hospital at that point of time. And then we went through this stuff already. So yeah, for the next query, we go create table, VW AVG treatment, duration as, oh shit, select, going to select d dot department, p dot gender, this has to be AVG which finds the average, which returns the average. So f dot length of stay hours as avg treatment duration, which is the alias. We selected department and gender. We took the average of length of stay because we need to find the average treatment duration. So we do average of f dot length of stay hours as alias average treatment duration. And we do the same stuff that we did before. Tables, we join them, and because we are selecting department as well, we also have to join our other dimension table, which is dbo.bim department as d on. Let's just copy this and paste it, but here we replace the patient with department. Department. Yep. Here as well should be d, and group by gender, and also d dot department. We can't just leave department. We have to group by gender and also department, which means anything you select other than the aggregation, which is this line, anything you select should be included in the group by, or else you will face an error. So anything you select other than the aggregation that you do should be included in the group by here, or else, yeah, that's it. That's basically it. It should be either aggregated or should be added in the group by, or else you will get an error. Okay, that is that. And now for the charts, we have total patient count over time. Let's head to that. Create view. Create view VW. Patient. Select. F dot admission date. P dot gender. Count of distinct as patient count. And of course all this stuff. And like I said, everything you select should be either in group by or should be aggregated. So we're going to do this here. Because these two are categorical, they cannot be aggregated. So they should be in the group by, and this can be aggregated. This is not categorical. Well, that's it with that. And for our next view, create view, VW. department inflow as select department gender for the filter, then count of distinct f dot fact department here. So we need department. We also need to group by department and gender. Actually, we need to do this because we need to know the patients that are currently admitted. So we use this is currently admitted equals 1, which is true, and then count the fact ID as patient count, and we do that patient count over department and gender as filter. That is done. Now total overstay patient count, create view, VW overstay patients as select d dot department force d dot gender for the filter, count of f dot fact id as overstay count. This because we also use department here, and we need to use where clause here to filter out f dot length of stay hours to define a patient is overstaying. He should be stayed in the hospital over 50 hours. That's what we are doing here. We used where clause to say length of the stay hours should be more than 50 hours. Only then we will count that fact ID as overstay count. And with that, overstay patient count is done. Now for the average treatment duration, we can use the same that we created for the average treatment duration KPI, key product indicators. So we can use this same view for the average treatment duration chart as well. So now we have all the seven views. Now I will play the video where I ran all these queries in the SQL warehouse in Synapse. Well, like I said, unfortunately, I lost access to my Azure account, so I have to play this. I recorded this before my subscription ended. Now I headed to Synapse. I opened Synapse. There is the SQL pool that we created, hospital pool. Right now we only have the external tables, which are dimension, 2 dimension, and 1 fact table. Now we create a SQL script, and the queries that we created, that we written, we run each one of them. At the same time, we check if the views are actually created in the right way. We use select all from that particular view to select all the columns, all the rows in that view. Me, let me open the notepad on the other side. So we created view patient demographics, which is this one. We created that table, that view. Now we are creating volume trend. This one. We're creating the chart view here. And the output is visible at the bottom. Now the view department inflow, this one, for the total patients over department chart. I have to mention one thing here. When I created that view, I forgot to add this case. F dot is currently admitted equals to 1. I forgot to add that case in this one. So yeah, besides that, everything is same. And now view average treatment duration, which is this one. So I ran that again. And there's the output. It says department, gender, and average treatment duration. And the bed occupancy. Just this one. And overstay patients. Our third chart. So I actually did that with 72 hours. Then I changed it to 50. So I need to drop the view first and then create it again. So I dropped the view and now I'm creating it again with the overstay hours as 50. Now we'll get the output. There you go. And they are separated with department and grouped by gender. We have bed turnover rate, which is our KPI. It should be at the top here. With that, we created all our 7 views. But by the time when I filming this, while I'm recording this, I had wait, I have another one. No, I had a duplicate view, which I named it as VW average length of stay, which is nothing but which one is that? Which is nothing but average treatment duration. So I named it as average length of stay, which is basically a duplicate of this. So I just got rid of those that view, but it is a recording, so I can't cut that in this clip. So I have to show you. Now I'm going to refresh the views to see all our views listed. There they are. Now we have all the views in the warehouse. Now I'm going to connect Power BI to SQL warehouse to pull those views in. Open Power BI desktop. Let me close this notebook. Azure, like we did before, Azure Synapse. And for the server name, we copied the dedicated SQL endpoint server name. Paste it. And here, we are supposed to select direct query, but because I'm going to lose the access to the SQL warehouse because my subscription expired, so I've chosen import here in this clip because I have to import the data so I can have the data even after the SQL the warehouse expire. So I chose an import, but we are supposed to choose direct query and then hit OK. It will list all the views that we have, that we created, along with the tables. So we import all of them. I mean, we pull all of those views and tables. and now the tables as well. And then click on load. Well, now we have pulled our tables and views into the Power BI by connecting with our SQL warehouse. Now, let's just close this video and let me open my actual Power BI file. Now inspect the data that we have here. So these three are the tables that we created, and these are the views that we created. And there are 7 views. Let's head to data model. All these connections are just automatically created by Power BI. So let's get rid of them. Just select all the connections, right click, delete. Or we have to delete them one after another. So delete all the connections. This one too. And now let me order this thing. Order all the views in a row. So firstly, our first view is beds occupied. Bed occupancy is our first view. And for the second one, we have VW bed turnover. And then we have patient demographics, and then average treatment duration, volume trend, department inflow, and then overstay patients. And let's just connect these two dimension tables to the fact table. And to connect them, we have to pull the surrogate key from dimension patient to patient SK column into the fact table. Now the relation is 1 to many. Should be 1 to many, and cross filtration, let's assign both for that, and same for the department table. Surrogate key, pull that and drop at department SK right here, department SK. Connection be 1 to many as well, and cross filtration both. Now we know the data is here. Let's start with creating the KPIs first. For our first KPI, we have beds occupied total, which is our VW bed occupancy view. This is our VW bed occupancy. Now click on the card and the aggregation factor. That is our total beds occupied percentage, and the format is wrong here. It should be in percentage. On the format, let's head to the format section and switch to general. Under data format, sum of the bed occupancy. For the format, select custom, and in custom, let's say 0.00, and quotes with the percentage symbol. Now I chose the percentage. Let's put that aside. Well, for the KPIs, I decided to use a donut chart for every single KPI to distinguish between male and female, because we created a filter for that. So let's create a donut chart for that KPI. Bed occupancy, gender. Here we have it. Just put Y on top of it. Put that aside, and for our next KPI, we have total bed turnover, which is VW bed turnover rate. VW bed turnover rate. We have this one. Let's create a card first. Now let's create a donut chart first. Bed turnover rate, gender. That's correct. You know what? We take out the legends for every donut chart. We turn off it. We turn off the legends for every donut chart that we created, because the legends occupy more space. And now for the card, just say the turnover rate. This is the total turnover, and these two represents the turnover for male and female separately. Just reduce the size and put it aside. And now for our next KPI, we have total patients, which is VW patient demographics. VW patient demographics. Create a donut chart. Total patients, gender. Sum of total patients, and shows the percentage. That's good. Is it right there? And a card 2 for that. Total patients to represent the total patient. And our next KPI is average treatment duration, which is the VW AVG treatment duration. VW AVG treatment duration. Create a donut chart for that too. Average treatment duration, gender. Here, for the average treatment duration, it by default took sum, but we need the average of those averages. So we select average in this drop down. So it shows the average hours now. Let's do that. And for the KPI card, treatment does the same here. So we should change it to average. So it says 35.58. And let's just format this. Switch to format, and general under data format. Click on custom 0.00, and replace H at the end. You know what? Let's edit that and just put one decimal number. That should be fine. 35.6 here, and have the KPIs. Now let's create the charts we need. For the first chart, we have total patient count over time, which should be a line chart. And the view we are going to use is VW patient volume trend. VW patient volume trend. The x-axis should have admission date, and patient count on the y-axis, and the gender. Take year, quarter, month. It's correct. That's correct. And now for our next chart, we have total patients over department, VW department inflow view, VW department inflow. For that, we create patient count, a stacked bar chart. Let's go with stacked bar chart. Select the department, patient count, and gender. This should do it. And turn off the legends for every chart. We don't need them. And for our third chart, total overstay patient count. And the view name is VW overstay patient. VW overstay patient. For this, let's create a metric table. And gender in the rows, department in the columns, and the value should be overstay count. That's correct. And for our fourth chart, we have average treatment duration, which is the same view as the KPI, which is VW average treatment duration. Now let's create a scatter plot, scatter chart. Oh wait, scatter chart. And then average treatment duration on y-axis, department on x-axis, and gender, no, not on values, it should be on legends. Okay, turn off the legends. We have all the charts and KPIs we need. Now we need to arrange this and create a few measures that makes the chart look good and more understanding. So firstly, let's turn off all the backgrounds here. Go to General, Effects, turn off the background. Do that for every KPI. Now take a quick moment and arrange them so they don't take much space. For all the cards, I'm gonna turn off the title, the category label for every card that we created. Oh, I forgot to turn off the legends on this. That's great. Let me zoom out a little bit. Well, this is just the initial structure. We are going to make modifications to this, but for now, just making it look good and organized. These KPIs are so huge. Let's just call out value, reduce it to 25 points. That fits. That will. Take all the KPIs out first. Arrange these charts. Let's just turn everything into the same size. Every card that we created, everything into 25. Copy that, 25. For this card too. So they fit in between the donut chart. The center. Now, for the color, usually we use pink for female and blue for male. So let's do that here as well. Change the colors for the donut charts, and I think it is in the here slicer. Male should be blue, female should be this pink. Same thing for this one. Slices should be pink, male should be blue. And we need to sort it. So on every donut chart, female comes first and then male. Only this chart is odd compared to the rest of them. So hit the three dots on the top, sort axis, and sort ascending. That worked. And for this one too, we change the colors. Hit to bars, female should be pink, male to the blue color. Same thing for this, lines, female, not the line, for the color, should pink, and blue for the male. Perfect. And for this one too, markers, male, color, blue, and for the female should be pink. And also let also change the shapes of each of them. Let's say triangle for female, male be diamond. Now that looks good. And what else should we do? Now let's go do the work with the KPIs first, and then we head to each and every chart. Before that, let's save it. So let's work with the KPIs first, and after we go to each and every chart to modify that. So firstly, for the KPI, let me arrange it in a good way. Just the donut chart. Go to slices, spacing. You make it thinner, like that should do. Same thing for this. Wait, let me just copy that. So let's make it 80 instead. 80. Copy that for every single donut chart that we have. 80. Copy. That's it. And we forgot to add the filter. Like I said, I'm going to filter the whole dashboard based on the gender categorical column. For that, let me add the slicer, the button slicer. Shows dimension patient, gender. It shows the buttons here. See, you hit on male, nothing changes. Well, that's because all our data is not in one single table, that divided into views and tables. So we have to connect all the views to one common table, and then we create this filter with that column in that particular table. In our case, we use dimension patient, which is our patient dimension table, and the column gender. So we have to connect all the views that we used in all the charts to that particular dimension patient table. So this filter applies to everything. For that, we need to head to data model, model view, and we have to connect every view that we created to dimension patient. For that, we drag gender from occupancy to gender here. The relation should be one to many, and while selecting cross filtration direction, you need to be careful. We have to go to both in our case, because if you select single, the filter only applies on the dimension patient and not bed occupancy table, because the filter flows from one to many and not from many to one. So in our case, we need the filter to apply for the bed occupancy table, which is on the one side. So we go for both here and save it. Gender. Same for the turnover. This is also one to many, but the cross filtration should be both. Save, and that is done. And for the demographics, gender, one to many, both. Save, gender, one to many. Here it should be many to many because the genders are repeated in the average treatment duration table too. So here our relation is many to many, of course both. And then in the patient volume table, the same thing, many to many, both. And with this, many to many, both. This one too, many to many, and both. Save it. Now if you go back to the dashboard, now the filter works. If you select female, only the female data will be visible. If you select male, only the male data. Now the filters are working. Edit these filter buttons. Take out the title, layout. Layout should be max rows can be 1 and max columns should be 2. So that fits exactly what we needed. We need the gap, overflow, layout, grid style titles, tabular, grid, vertical, slicer settings, callout values, buttons. We don't need a label, but set to button section here. Both the buttons. Shape, rounded rectangle to make it look good. Can be increased, can be decreased. Like that. No filling inside. You know what? It can have filling. No border. Turn on shadows. And for the shadow, it can be inside. That looks good. Let it be the top right here. That looks good for now. Now for the titles. The titles of every chart. Let's make it dynamic rather than static. So to do that, we create a measure for every view. Let's say first for this donut chart. Click on that view, click on new measure. Let's name it selected gender occupancy equals to, no, hit enter, sorry, my bad. Say for gender occupancy, say bits occupied and space, then and select and value, selected value of dimension patient of gender. Or else total. So we are now making the title dynamic. Let me show you how this works. Now we create this. It's not a valid table. Dimension patient is not a valid table function. Well, that's because we used parentheses here, but it is supposed to be square bracket because we are selecting a column inside the table. Now let's create that. It is created. Now the measure is created here. Now for this donut chart, head to format panel and into general title. Click on the effects button in the text. Select field value, and for the field select the measurement we created. In the bed occupancy, select gender occupancy. Now what I did here is I made the title dynamic, which means whichever filter you select, the title changes automatically according to that. Right here we can see beds occupied female, you change to beds occupied male. If you haven't selected anything, it says bed occupied total. Yeah, that's what we did. What we did in the measure is we created a measure named selected gender occupancy, and this is a static string we defined, beds occupied, and we gave a space next to it, and with selected value dimension of a dimension patient table and gender column. So if there is nothing returned from this, then paste total. Basically that's the logic here what we used. So in case you select anything, it returns the value of the gender. If there is nothing returned, it assigns total to the end. That's what we created here. Now we need to just copy paste that equation and do changes to that accordingly. Depends on what our title should be. Now let's just copy the equation that we created for this measure and use it for every other chart title. For this one, we create a measure here too. Copy, paste it, change the measure name, let's call it demographic. And for the demographics, I would just say total, and I'll change it to patient. I have to apply it first. Go to that, title, FX, the field, demographics. Yep, that works. For this chart too, in this view, create a new measure, name it turnover rate. say, you know what, let's just take this out just to make the phrase understandable. We'll use m at the end after the total, then put the string as bits for lower. Treatment duration, okay, change the name. Occupancy, I spelled it wrong. Uh, This one I'll change it. First, let me name it inflow. And don't need to create a measure again because we already have one. We'll use that. Perfect. Well, we made the titles dynamic. Now let's make all the KPIs dynamic too. I mean, the KPI colors. Let's say if we select a gender, say female, let the KPIs turn pink too. So to do that, we need to create, unlike the other time, we just need to create one measure for this. Dimension patient, new measure. Let's name it gender color equals switch. Technology. For male, let's copy this. For male, we need the color code as go to that slices, male color code, more colors. Wait, let me just this one so it saves, and now head back to that male color. Just copy this color code, paste it in the quotes, comma, female. And for the female, with this color, paste it, and one more color for default. The default color should be, let's say, this black. Copy that black color code into here, and that's it. Let me arrange this code real quick. Now let's run it. Perfect. Now let's change this color back to pink. And now for every KPI that is in the middle, click on that, call out value, and here for the color, shows field value, and extend that dimension patient and the measure column that we created, gender color. Now you see that? So The text inside the donut chart changes color according to the filter now. Let's apply that to every KPI. That's good. And for the filter as well, for the callout values, as here we can see, we can customize one button at a time. It just shows all. We can select male and female here. So all we can do here is go to values. For the values color FX field, it shows the same measurement that we created. Now the names changes. The color of the filter names changes. And also this time go to buttons and state, let's say pressed or selected, and go to fill FX field value, the same measurement that we created. And now when you click on the button, it changes again. So that makes it look good. Now we have that. Now let's go through all the charts and KPIs one after another and make it perfect. Firstly, for this one, the title, make it centered. Title center. For this one too, center. For the same KPI. Go to data labels outside, select only the data value. No, just select the percentage, only the percentage. That looks good. And for this one, that's good with that KPI. And for this one, go to label details outside, just show the percentage. For this one too, here let's say we need the data value here, we need to assign the data format custom 0.00. Perfect. For this one, treatment duration, so we need the data value would be great. In the format custom 0.00. Yep. The H. Great. Got that. Make sure all the KPIs are on the same size. For that, we go to layout. We need not the legend. General properties. Make a reasonable size here. Let's keep it 150 and 290. let's make sure every donut chart has the same properties. 150, 290, just to make everything even. 150, 290, this one as well. 150, 290. And for the KPIs, callout values, say 20. 20 should do. Let's do that for everything. 20. 20. 20. Perfect. The KPIs, the work with the KPIs is done. Head to this one here. Firstly, let's align it to the center, the title, and then let's take out the headings, the headers. Take out the headers, the title on y-axis and on x-axis. We need to take out the grid lines too. That's it for that. And the line chart, same thing. We need to turn off the titles. And then the grid lines, horizontal and vertical. For the line chart, we only see the days here. Let's fix that. Take this out and back again. Now it shows the month and the date. That's great. And for the title, align it to the center. Yep, that's good. That looks good. Just need to resize it a little bit better. And here for the matrix chart, well, a regular matrix chart is boring. So let's make something better with this. Firstly, let's take out the row grand total. I think I need to column subtotals, row subtotals, get smaller, and one corner. And let's create a bar chart again. this. Which column is that? That's the column. The visualization pane and cluster column chart. We use that. Department on x-axis, overstay count on y-axis. Perfect. Well, it is sorted in the wrong way. So our department should start with cardiology and then surgery. Wait, let's go click on the three dots. Three dots, sort access with the department. Now it's in the other way around, surgery at the first and cardiology at the last. So it should be an ascending. Now that matches. Okay, let's go back to this. X-axis, values and titles of. Y-axis, same thing. Turn the title off. And the charts now first. Here, let's increase the spacing a little bit so that it matches with this. Let's do that. That is good. Perfect. Remove the background. And for the bar colors effects, choose the colors that we created in Dimension Patient. Gender. No, I think I chose the wrong field name. I mean the column name should be gender color. Okay. Perfect. Now this bar changes the selection. Okay, now let's create another bar chart. Let's just copy this. Now, let's create a new column chart. This one. And say gender on y-axis, overstay on x-axis. Great. Turn off values. Turn off the title. Values. Title of. For the x-axis, invert it. Invert the rate. What's actually happening here? Okay. Sum of overstay count. turn off the values, and turn off the values here too. Turn off the background, shrink it like that. Wait, did I assign it right way? Oh, it's in the wrong way. Okay. Sort axis, gender, sort axis, ascending. Now if that's right, female is on the top. Turn off the values. Great. And for the color, bus, male it is blue and female it is pink. Perfect. That's great. And with the table, let's go turn off the grid lines. They're already off. Okay, and layout and style. None. Great. Perfect. And we need a title here. Forgot to put a title here. Because this is a combination, this is embedded with 3 charts. We need to insert a text here, text box, and let's leave it blank and turn on the title here and FX. Now we need to create, we already created, I guess, for the overstay. It should be in the overstay patients, select general overview. That's it. Now it goes here. Let's turn off the background. And for the title, align it to center. Great, that looks great. It looks like it is kind of squeezed in between these things, these charts. Let's move the charts a little bit to the bottom, just to have enough space for the title. That looks great. And for this one, head to title, align it to center. The grid lines, turn them off, and title off, title off. And for the format, custom 0.00 fetch 38 hours, 36 hours, 34 hours. Perfect. That's it. And we need a title for this. We need a title for that. So we insert a shape. Let's use this one here. Shape. So both top, rounded corners. Shit, that doesn't look good. Read it. That. Rotation. We need to be rotated at 180 degrees like that. We use this for the title here. Right here. And shape, rotation, style, border, text, shadow. The shape, say around the tab would be great. How is it looking now? Looks great. Around the tab, top right, both top. Match. Perfect. Yep. Line it to the top, right there. And rounded corners, just a little bit more. Yep. And for the color, say shape, style. For the color, let's do that. So it changes according to filter 2. And we set the color and yep, that's it for the shape. There you go, that looks good. Now for the title, need to put the title at the top. The title be all in caps, hospital, patient flow, and with occupancy analysis. Choose everything, bold, okay. Properties, effects, background off. Right there. We need to change the color to white so that it is visible on every color we use for the background. With that, we need to increase the size now, font size. 24 seems too much. 18. Maybe a single point down. That looks perfect. Yep, now we have the title. And let me just segregate this so that it fits in the perfect way. They're not perfect now. I need to segregate them. That's it. That's it. Perfect. Perfect. Yep, that's it. I think the KPI should come to the bottom. Just like this. Should be fine. Yep. That looks great. Now let's insert a shape. No, not the text box. Insert a shape, a line. Let's make this line color change according to the selection too. Dimension patient, gender color, okay. Oh, it is not changing. Why is it not changing? Oh, because it is a line, you need to change the color at border, not fill. Field value, dimension, gender color, now it changes. Let's just assign it here. Copy paste it right next to this. I think it needs to be bigger. I got to here. Great. Do the same thing here. Wait, I haven't applied the title here. I think I forgot. For the line chart. Should be in volume, gender volume, select. That's good. Go to that. Perfect. Copy paste on the other side. Perfect. Copy paste to the bottom. Copy paste into the other side. Copy paste onto this one. Copy paste on the other side. Now let's give it a try. So what else we have? Have the slicer here. That's it. Everything changes according to the filter. We have all the KPIs and charts ready. And for the last part, let me include a few buttons. Insert a button, clear slicers, and after the shape, action, rotation, style. For the style, turn the text off, turn the icon on. Turn the borders off. Place it right next to that. And for the color of the icon, let's select the same field. Gender color. That is it. Now, we use that to clear the filters. Let's say if I chosen male or any other filters, we can just clear all the filters by clicking this. And let's add one more, maybe it's a button, blank, maybe two more buttons. Here, for the style, turn off the border icon. Turn off the icon too. Text, I think it's the fill. Yep, it's the fill. Browse. I have the stickers with me. The downloads, no, not in the downloads. Let me get those stickers first. I use flat icons to download the icons for free. LinkedIn. This is perfect. PNG, free download. And if you take a look at it, it is in black color, but we cannot use black color because our background in the title is black, so it will blend in. So we need to invert it. Say invert image online. Drop image. Invert. Download PNG. Do the same thing with LinkedIn and GitHub. Do the same thing with the GitHub. Download that PNG. No, download PNG. Free download. Go back to that. Drop an image here. That one. Invert. Download PNG. So we have both the icons we need. Let's head back to Power BI. Here, browse. Let's paste the LinkedIn first. With transparency 0. Well, it is not fill actually. It is not fill. Turn off the fill. Turn on the icon. In here, icon type, we need to select custom. Browse. LinkedIn image that we downloaded. Now, image fit, icon placement. That's great. Let's resize it. And for the action, turn on the action type, select web URL, and for the URL, paste your LinkedIn URL. I'm going to paste mine. Paste mine. Perfect. And same with the GitHub too. Just copy, paste this icon right next to that. Style icon. Browse. Choose GitHub icon. And for actions, go for the GitHub, the profile, paste that link, here. Let me see if they are working. So hold Control and click on it. You'll see if it's working or not. Well, that's it. Now we have this beautiful dashboard that is created. Maybe it's not too fancy with the UI, but I want to make this video just to let you guys know how we deal with the real-time data that is in star schema when creating a dashboard. And with that being said, that's it for the video. We officially completed the data analytics part of the project, and which means we totally completed our project, hospital patient flow in bed occupancy analysis. And I will be back with a new project with a new video. Until then, see you, take care.